shoot. Hi, I'm the Moorlander and this is Moorlander EDC. It is a absolutely glorious day today. Couldn't get out into the woods, just doing some recording on my lunch, and thought there was a flashlight that I looked at in the last video, and you know, it's the bigger brother, bigger sister to one of my favourite flashlights. So one of those that I carry a lot is the i5T from Olight. Really pocket friendly, nice. It's a AAA battery flashlight and is really useful. And you know, I've talked about staples as far as EDC items that you know everyone should at least try once, and the i3T is one of those. But the bigger brother to the i3T EOS is the i5T EOS. Now this, as far as the looks are concerned, is very similar, or at least let me grab the other one, is very similar between the two. This is a AAA battery flashlight and this is a AA battery flashlight torch. And that's mainly the differences between the two, and because you have a larger battery in here, then you know there's some subtle differences between the amount of light that's output by the larger i5T. But that's what we'll have a look at now. What I'll do is, as usual, I'll turn the camera around. Oh, the boys have come out to me today as well. I'll turn the camera around. While I'm doing that, if at any point you do like this video, or you know, at least just find it funny, then please feel free to hit that like button and subscribe. That would be awesome. But let's turn the camera around so that we can have a look at the i5T EOS from Olight. So here we have the i5T EOS from Olight. As you usually do, you know, we'll go around it and then we'll have a look at the functions and things. This is the black version. There are quite a lot of different versions. I could probably go in and name them all off the top of my head, but I can't really remember. What you'll find with Olight is that they make lots of different versions. They have one-offs, they have special edition ones. You can get this in black. As you can see with my i3Ts, there is like a coyote tan version, but then there's some other ones with sparkly bits on. I think there's a green one, there's a purple one, which is also the UV version. So there's plenty of different versions of this depending on, you know, how you want it to fit in, or if you want to buy one of every single version. Measurements wise, it measures 95 millimeters, or if I just hold inches up here, you know, that's roughly about 3.5 inches, 95 millimeters. The diameter is 17.8 millimeters. It looks roughly just about two thirds of an inch. It's made from aluminium. It's all constructed from aluminium, although I don't think this is, I'm guessing this is steel, because I don't think aluminium is as tough and as springy for the pocket clip, but the vast majority of it is made from aluminium. As far as weight is concerned, it is very light. It comes in at just 60 grams. So no matter what you're putting this into, whether you're carrying this in a pocket, whether you have it in a small slip, or even if you just want to carry this off body and you've got a couple of them that maybe you keep in different bags, you're not really going to notice that weight. It is very light because of that. The function itself, it works with a tail cap. It is a single button depress. You can, if you want to, if I just put that there, I mean, you can do a soft press, which will just kind of turn it on momentarily. There is a second function for that soft press when we look at it itself. We'll look at that bit in a moment, but you know, that'll become a little bit clearer. The tail cap screws off, and then on the inside you'll be able to see this is the battery that came with it. It's just a AA battery. It's good that they send that with you there, but you know, if you did want to swap that out, you can pretty much go to any shop that sells batteries and pick up a AA battery. When it screws on, hopefully if you can see there, so there is a nice washer in there. When it screws on, it's actually quite a good seal, so you get to there and there's a bit of resistance just because the what's the word, when you screw it in, the tolerances are really fine and very well made, but when you screw it in, you get to feel the actual little bit more resistance from that rubber, which, you know, it gives you some confidence that you're not going to get water in there. Now, as far as IP rating is concerned, it's an IPX8, so you can submerge this up to a few meters worth of water. You can drop it from a meter and a half or so, and it should still continue to function. There are some reviewers out there that like to absolutely smash them apart just to show you exactly what these can do. I mean, I like to look after my gear, but you know, if I'll see if I can find some links. But you know, be assured that it's a hard wearing flashlight. If you want to beat it, which would be weird. But anyway, the tail, or not the tail, sorry, but the spring comes off if you want to take this off, and it's a double clip. If you want to put this so you can have it in your pocket, you can do that. If you want to use this maybe on like the brim of a cap, you can do that as well, because it will lift up this way, so that you can put it so that it's directed forward. I guess if you wanted to, you could turn it around. I don't think that would actually work, but you know, the option's there if you want to do it. And that's kind of it. So there's some knurling on the tail cap, so it's easy to take off and put on. There is a double helix style knurling as well down here, which does make it reasonably easy to hold. I wouldn't say it's a particularly difficult light to hold, whether you've got gloves on or not. It fits nicely into your hand. If you want to, you can do the tactical tail switch kind of thing, which is actually a little bit easier with the i5T. The i3T, you can still do it, but it's just that extra little bit longer. So if you have larger hands, you might find that the i5T suits a little bit better than the i3T. If I put these, probably a good point to put these next to each other, so you'll see it's roughly a centimetre longer, and then when you look at the diameter wise, you can see that this is just a little bit, well, it's actually quite a bit thicker. It's probably maybe say twice the thickness of the i3. But we'll have a look at some of the differences. Some more of the differences in a second. Now, the main use for this, as it is a torch or a flashlight, is you click the end, it turns on, you click it again and it turns off. It's very, very simple as far as the operation is concerned. There are two lumen settings on this. You have a low mode. When you turn it on, it always comes on to low mode. There is no memory as such, with a slight caveat which we'll have a look at in a second, and that's when you get to high mode. The low mode is 15 lumens, and on a full battery charge, for a full brand new AA battery, you should get roughly 20 hours out of this. I've not really tested this, mainly down to the fact that because the way that you use a small flashlight, or the way that I've used this, you know, it's just for finding little bits and bobs, but since I've had this now, I've had this for about 5-6 months, I've not had to change the battery in it. So I find that the 15 lumens in the low mode pretty much does 90% of the things that I need to do. I can use it in the house, I can use it while I'm out, I can find the dogs while I'm walking with them. If you do need more light, then you can put it into the high mode, which is 300 lumens. Now, the way to do that is you have to turn it off and turn it back on again, and if you turn it back on again within 2 seconds, it will bump it up to the high mode. When you turn it off, if you keep it turned off for longer than 2 seconds, it will always reset back to the low mode. That was that little caveat bit that I said around the memory. It's not really a memory as such, but it will remember that you were in low mode for 2 seconds, so that when you turn it back on again, it will bump it up to high. Also, the tail switch on the end, I said there was like a soft depress. If you want, what you can do is you can soft depress and then come back out and then push it back in again to get to the high mode as well, rather than having to do that to get there. So that's another option that you can get. Now, so there is the high mode. As I mentioned, this is 300 lumens, but there are some kickdowns on this just partially to save your battery. It doesn't particularly get that hot, but what you'll find is for the first 3 minutes it will be at 300 lumens like this. Then it will, after 3 minutes, it will then drop down to 150 lumens, and it will be at that for another 25 minutes. After 25 minutes at 150 lumens, it will then drop down to 30 lumens, and it will stay at 30 lumens for roughly 122 minutes. Now, this is all depending on, you know, how much battery you've got in there. So if it is that you're half battery, then you might find that it will possibly run out before then, but that's just to give you an idea. So it'll stay at 300, and you can see a lot from this simple flashlight at 300 lumens. And I'm going to bring back in the the i3. So this one is 15 lumens on low and 300 lumens on high, whereas the i3 is 5 lumens on low and 180 lumens on high. And this one works exactly the same way. You turn it on, turn it off again, and turn it back on within 2 seconds. I might have said 2 minutes before. Turn it on within 2 seconds, and it will put it into the high mode. Other than that, you know, this really is just a very simple light. It's simple to use, it has a simple operation. As I mentioned, you know, the vast majority of things you can do with these 15 lumens. 15 lumens is great to be able to see most things inside and out. But then if you want a little bit more, you want a little bit more of a punch to be able to find things, then you can do. As far as a hotspot or as far as a spill is concerned, it's easier to see this on the 300, but it has a very wide, soft hotspot. You really only see it close when you hold it against something. It's very good for short distances. Actually, while we're here, on the 300 lumens, you can get up to 60 meters worth of light from this. I'd say it's roughly about that, but I think if you're really trying to search for something, then you'd probably try and find a larger flashlight. But I think this is great. It's a good staple flashlight to have in your collection. Olight have done a great job with the i5T because it ticks quite a few boxes, especially when it comes to EDC. It's small, it's functional. It's easy to use. You know, there's a lot of, I've talked a lot in the past about simplicity. You know, last week we looked at the Sophone IF25A, which is an absolutely amazing flashlight, and it does ridiculous amounts of things, from the functions and the way in which you can customize it for how you want to use it. But some days just having something that you can rely on, that you click it, it turns on, it turns off. You've got that double click if you want the higher mode. There's a simplicity to this, and I think in that simplicity it almost makes it like a staple. I think whether you choose the i5T or the smaller sibling, the i3T, you can't go wrong with this. And I'm going to use that term staple again. I think for anybody looking to get into EDC, or even, you know, you've been EDC since you were born, you know, these should be a staple. And for the price as well, you know, they're great value for money. These should be a staple in any sort of carry, or at least be included in your flashlight rotation if you have one. So there you go, my, you know, humble and honest opinion towards the end there on the Olight i5T EOS. Yep, I'll leave some links in the description below. Some of those might be, I'll double check, some of those may be affiliate links. If you choose to use those, that'll be great. You know, I just get a small kickback towards the channel. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and I'll also try and see if I can, you know, find the best prices for these two. There'll be some links to Olight so that you can see more from these. I'll also make sure that I link to my i3T content as well. Social media links are below, you know, like, share, subscribe, all of that kind of deal. But for now, stay safe, stay Moorlander, and stay EDC.